Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about how the Greeks and the Romans still run the world from their graves till this day. My name is Illuminate and I'm here to illuminate you guys and enlighten you guys. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. So the Greeks colonized Egypt by going in first through the Persian invasion and then through Alexander the Great, by going into our temples and our mystery schools and studying our knowledge. After they studied our knowledge, they started to kind of try to implement it and plagiarize the things that they were taught by going to talk to priests and different people that were in the Kemet community and in ancient Egypt. During the time they came to colonize everything or colonize us, we were already falling from within. There were power struggles. There were, people betraying people, priests going against the pharaohs, and the pharaoh started to lose power during this time. So this is the perfect time for the Greeks, to come in and start to, colonize a portion of Kemet, not the whole Kemet. And when they did that, they started to establish these banks. They started to own land, and they started to just, kind of control the power in that part of Kemet, which is what we call Egypt. After colonizing that portion, they started to take the knowledge back to Greece and begin to develop their civilization. So when you look at the ancient Greek civilization, you'll see a lot of beautiful temples, you'll see a lot of beautiful statues, and you'll see these quote unquote gods. Now, these gods were the Neters, or what you call the Neteru in Kemet. And what they were these principles and attributes of natures and attributes and archetypes that was within the human being that could be developed. Now, when they got their hands on it, they started, saying that we worship multiple gods because they didn't have the capacity to understand what the knowledge was about or what we were trying to convey to the human mind. So they started to enslave their civilization and started to kind of twist the teachings and started to make claims of leadership as far as like, if you don't have charisma, then you weren't born to be a leader. You weren't favored by the gods. If you didn't have fair skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, then you were meant to be a slave. They started to develop ideas of democracy. They created democracy, the idea of citizens. They were the first civilization after us to establish a systematic study on human nature and human beings. They learned how to manipulate crowds and, make things go in their favor. And they learned how to rule the masses with this idea of the gods. And their civilization became a civilization where the 1% ruled and the rest of the masses were slaves. So fast forward, you got the Romans. The Romans come in, and these are military guys. So when they come in, they colonize the Greeks. And when they colonize the Greeks, they'll usually go places and then colonize the area and wipe out the whole area, and just set up their domain there. But when they came to see the Greeks, they were fascinated by their libraries. They were fascinated by their statues. They were fascinated by the knowledge that the Greeks, had produced. They realized that the Greeks were thinkers and philosophers, and that made the Greeks dangerous. So instead of annihilating the Greeks altogether, they just took them over and then started to study their philosophy, started to study the knowledge that they got from Kemet, and built their nation up and became the most powerful nation in the world at the time. They ruled all of Africa, all the way to Scotland, and the Romans were known to be the most brutal, nation or kingdom in the world. And if you study history, you'll see that they literally were the first civilization to conquer the whole world. Now the Greeks fall because of them getting colonized by the Romans. Now, the Romans take this knowledge, build themselves up, got these same ideas. If you are not, if you are not fair skinned, if you don't have charisma, if you're an extrovert and you're, flamboyant and you like to talk to people, you're made to be a leader, and you were given, that divine right by the gods. So they adopted those same philosophies from the Greeks, and they basically used that philosophy to go and start, getting the slaves from Africa. Oh, like they'll tell, members of their kingdoms, oh, we found these people that were thick lips, that had thick lips, big noses, and they were dark skinned. And we found these divine slaves, or these people that were made by gods to be slaves to us. So they started to go to these areas and put us on ships and, enslave us. Now, the Romans were so powerful, they didn't fall by getting colonized by another nation. The Romans fell because of immortality. And what I mean by that is the Romans were carnal. They were all about the flesh. They were all about pleasure. And that destroyed them. They were ruled by their loins. They liked to have sex with little boys. And it even went as far as like they were having incest with their brothers and sisters, and they were killing their fathers and mothers just so they could rule the throne. Now, this was going on for years. This was going on for years in the Roman kingdom. And they basically started to deteriorate from the inside out. And the whole kingdom started to kind of fall apart. And different parts of the kingdom broke into smaller parts and then went to different parts of the world. And we know these kingdoms today by the names of Portugal, the Spaniards, France, Belgium, and the British. These are all little Roman kingdoms that rule the world today. So those kingdoms, when they were colonizing the people, the Africans and stuff like that, and taking them across the world, they were using the Bible and using Jesus as a way to enslave the people. They were telling them that, just enjoy your time here, be slaves to us. You'll go to heaven. You'll go to this place called heaven. And then that's when you'll get all the good food, all the nice sandals and stuff like that. So right now, don't worry about anything. Just be a slave, be a good servant. And they were using the Bible in that way and Jesus in that way to enslave our people. So that is where you get, the philosophies of the people that run the world today. Now, these smaller kingdoms still run the world today. Now, when they came to the Americas, the reason why they couldn't rule a lot of people in the Americas is because they killed a lot of them off with diseases, because these were people that weren't very well with hygiene, that were having sex with their own animals, that were, like I said, committing incest, having sex with little children, and the stuff that you still hear about today, by quote unquote conspiracy theories, that goes on today in this world. So yeah, that's basically how, they still run the world today, and that's how their ideas still, kind of govern the Western world. No matter how smart you are, no matter how intelligent you are as a melanated being, you can go get as many degrees as you want. You'll still be viewed as an intelligent slave. But without further ado, that's the video. Hope you guys loved the video. Like, share, and subscribe so we can, tweak the algorithm a little bit. I love you guys, and I'll be making more videos after this. Illuminate out.